Get a good night's sleep if you dare. Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary they'll keep your heart pounding all night long. Need to hint that something is about to happen in last 10 seconds of the video. YouTube channel Illustrated Magazine published yet another crazy Russian video. In November of 2013, get ready for it. A highway in the darkness of night. Some light music, headlights, the road. And then, out of nowhere. Why an enormous bundle of sticks blasted into the middle of the road at that moment, who knows? All I know is that this driver is a pro. He kept his wits about him enough to not overcorrect, even though this clearly scared him as much as it did us. Probably, more so. Well, this could have been a falling branch or tree. The right side of the road seems to be clear of trees, and the branches appear to be chucked straight down onto the highway. This was certainly a terrifying event, and with no explanation. We may never know who threw those sticks. This is another amazing yet scary save, published by Life Trucking in May of 2017. Watch as a car, driving alongside a semi, comes closer to loss of life than they likely ever imagined. As the two drive parallel down the highway, the semi is passing the vehicle, when suddenly its cargo tips. The big rig goes up on its left wheels. Those in the car must have been surprised to see the semi nearly toppling onto them, before the driver manages to return the big rig to its regular balance. Although surprisingly scary, this Eduardo Ortega published this scary episode in February of 2012. As you can see, it's a foggy day with limited visibility ahead. That is, until you spot two sets of headlights heading toward the driver, occupying both lanes. One of the truckers had attempted to pass the other and was now in the dash cam driver's lane. Predicting a terrible incident waiting to happen, one of the opposite coal truck drivers slows down, veering off the roadway and onto the hard shoulder. The other doesn't seem to move out of the way in the slightest. Still, the expert trucker manages to thread the needle and make it through. The drive cam is even more entertaining, as you can see the driver look back in disbelief. He'd just come face to face with losing his life and saw the other side. Although he has himself to thank for a quick and clean maneuver, he could give the opposite trucker a pat on the back for his knee-jerk reaction in taking his big rig off the road and out of commission. YouTuber somewhere in Russia published this roadside nightmare in September of 2012. In the video description, he writes, author of the video stopped his truck on the road to change the wheel. 3 bandits in blue Lada tried to get $100 out of trucker for crossing their territory. As you can see in the footage, the semi is idling, while the trucker is likely changing the wheel, as the YouTuber stated. You can see him walk up a road to pick something up off the ground, walk back, and get in his vehicle as the phone rings. When he answers it, you see the blue Lada pull up alongside him. A man in a tracksuit approaches the driver's side door. Next, you can hear the trucker radio for help and, soon enough, 2 other big rigs heed his call. Not sure what is said in the back and forth, but a little later, the driver exits his rig to confront the bandits alongside his fellow drivers. Holding a metal pipe, he walks toward the group, which has grown from 1 to more than half a dozen. It seems some of these men are from the bandit group, while the others are truckers who have managed to block the Lada and its bandits in. Confrontation kicks off amongst the group. After the would-be bandit has been thoroughly pummeled, about a half dozen men are seen heaving the Lada, which is parked on the side of the road, until it rolls onto its roof. It's lucky the truckers banded together, because it seems they're better together. The bandits lost, this time. This one is unfortunately fact, not fiction. On the northbound M40 in Oxfordshire, UK, someone was headed southbound, directly into traffic. The car and caravan, which were reported to have foreign plates, flew down a 5-mile stretch of the motorway. Other drivers swerved out of the way of the car-caravan combo. The Subaru Forester, towing the caravan, ended up driving into a couple vehicles, which took the life of one of the drivers, who was 30 years old, along with the driver and passenger of the Subaru, both in their 80s. This trucker's dash cam footage shows the Subaru heading in the opposite direction of all the other northbound vehicles at the time. Moments later, the ride would come to a sad end. Police were already on their way, having received reports that someone was driving the wrong way down the motorway. And then later receiving further updates about the event. This video, published by Dashcam Owners World in April of 2018, shows what it's like to cross paths with something not only unexpected, but altogether surreal. The driver is cruising across some backroads, no other light source in view, but his own headlights when, all of a sudden, on the right side of his lane, a woman dressed in white comes into view. On the ground, a dark streak draws a path to where she stands, as if something wet stains the road. Her right hand is making a jabbing motion. The driver screams in fright and quickly backs out of there, as the deranged woman wanders aimlessly towards him. He keeps backing away, faster and faster, until the ghost woman is no longer in view. Some commenters think this must be real. Others suggest the lady is one of the black-eyed kids that you hear so much about. Still others think it was a prank gone too far. Whether real or not, if I ran into this at night, I would surely panic. Rob TV showcases another fright in the dark of night. Published in September of 2017, Joe wrote that this happened around 9 p.m. at night, although he didn't mention the location. In the clip, Joe says there was someone walking in the distance that looked incredibly sketchy. Then he spots him. He says the guy is just standing there, beneath the sign at the side of the road. He flashes his brights, and the figure finally comes into view. It appears to be a guy, dressed in a black t-shirt and dark jeans. The driver says he seems to be wearing a mask. The mask isn't clear, but something does seem to be wrong with the drifter's face. And as the guy slowly drives past, the figure approaches, coming toward the passenger side door, as the driver shouts in terror. Some YouTubers think this grotesque thing is a demon. Others, of course, think it's a prank. But one comment stood out from the rest. Ericanto Aguilar from Mexico City said he came searching for answers after seeing something similar. In his own words, "One day I was walking by the street with a friend of mine, we passed under a bridge, and we both saw something identical to this being." He said that he knows that most probably won't believe him, but finding the same type of figure online was strange. At least we know Joe got away from this pseudo-demon. The video made it to the internet, after all. While bouncy castles are good fun, there's no fun in games on the open road. Published by Lackers in April of 2016, this dash cam shows the damage that a bouncy castle is capable of. Yet another savvy truck driver shows off his skills with quick enough reflexes and foresight to prevent something seriously bad. The footage shows a nighttime drive along the busy interstate. Lots of folks are on the road, clipping away at a pretty steady pace. Then, suddenly, in the middle of one lane appears a large purple tarp, or what looks to be a deflated bouncy castle. The vehicle in front of the trucker goes around the obstacle, which appeared on the I-40 near Nashville, Tennessee, according to the video's description. But, instead of simply dodging the tarp like all the others flying down the interstate, the trucker pulls over, gets out of his car, and attempts to pull the object off the road and onto the shoulder. Apparently, the bouncy castle is pretty heavy, because the trucker has a hard time dragging it, while dozens of cars pass him by, unable to spare a thought to help. Regardless, he finally manages to remove it fully from the lane, gets back in his truck, and is on his merry way again. Future drivers down the I-40 have this competent trucker to thank for his action. Brad Pill published the clip in August of 2015. The semi's dash cam footage captures a man pull over his car in front of the big rig, which was parked on the side of the road. The trucker was apparently absent from the cab at the time, perhaps fixing a wheel. The man approaches the passenger's side door, likely scoping the semi out, and then, seeing it's empty, goes round to the driver's side. Soon, the man is seen running back to his vehicle holding a bag. He pops into the passenger's side of the vehicle. That's when the truck driver spots him trying to get away with his valuables and races after him. The car attempts to drive off as the man chases, but he pauses for a moment, and for some unknown reason, the would-be robber throws the bag back out of the passenger's side door, and the trucker retrieves it. Although it's unclear why the robbers didn't complete their takeoff with the bag, as it doesn't seem like the driver was going to catch up with them. Maybe the sight of him was enough to scare the wits out of them. Trucker Clinton Rhodes, from the Otago region of New Zealand, captures loads of dash cam footage that would have you raging. Much of the footage he captures is near misses. But this one in particular could really have taken someone's life or multiple someone's. As Rhodes drives steady, a car cuts him off to take an exit, missing his 34,000-liter petrol tanker by an inch. As you can see, the car was on the opposite side of the semi before crossing sharply over into his lane. Rhodes notes that drivers are impatient with big rigs like his and often won't wait for the passing zone, but just go right ahead and pass on double lines. A very scary incident avoided. There's one thing more terrifying than these clips, and that's what your life would be like without watching more of our videos. Need to watch the next scary dash cam or scary story. Is coming up in the last 10 seconds.